Thank you for coming out today. I think it's important that we always gather to denounce violence of all forms, and so I'm happy to see a lot of people here dressed in black. Thank you to the organizers who have made this possible. So my name is Shanice Nicole. I'm just going to share some poetry with you. Yeah, I don't think there's really much to say, you know? There's not much to say, so. I'm going to share two pieces and then just share a little something that I wrote earlier today that I was just feeling, and a little message that I want to share with everyone. And so just some content warnings. Obviously these pieces are going to be about police brutality and state violence. There's also a lot of swearing, so if there's some sensitive ears, this is like your 30-second opportunity to cover them, or to maybe sneak into one of these condos that shouldn't be here. Okay, so the first piece I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a piece called Detox that I actually wrote last year after Philando Castile was murdered. And yeah, the cop who killed him was acquitted recently, and so this kind of came back into my life. So this is called Detox. I am tired. I am motherfucking tired. I am tired of trying to convince white people to give a fuck about me, about my reality, about my humanity, but I understand in theory, because to give a fuck means to give up some of that luck, and this luck, it's okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. AKA power and privilege that has been beaten, stolen, murdered, and pillaged out of our hands, that even when up in the air or tied behind our backs, whiteness proves to only know how to attack, how to subtract bullets from guns, souls from bodies, fathers from babies, in cars caught on candid camera, but the ones who go to prison are the ones who shoot the film, not the ones who shoot to kill. And the sickly sweet icing topped on this poison cupcake is that still, even after all of this death, is that still, even in spite of all of this stench, they can turn around and deny and lie and smile while I sit there in tears. They laugh as if there's something funny about black fear, about black pain, about black death. Bitch, share the joke so I can laugh too. Or wipe that smirk off your face before I do it for you. And violence breeds violence, and hate breeds hate. Yeah, well, who bred the first fucking batch? Because up to date, violence and hate are the devoted children of white supremacy, which also bred the cops who will never stop unless they're stopped, because their favorite hobby is brutality. It's in their ancestry. And at the ancestral root of evil, you'll find whiteness, best believe. Working full-time, overtime, all the time, brutalizing, colonizing, genociding, toxifying. We need a detox. Sending love to Philando Castile and his girlfriend and his daughter. So this one, this next one's called Deep Sleep. Yeah, and it's just about waking up, you know. I woke up when they put Trayvon to sleep. And when I say sleep, I mean murder, and when I say they, I mean the world, because it wasn't just one man whose full name I will not speak, initials GZ, who destroyed Trayvon's life and his body. The whole world joined in, gleefully happy to read out that verdict, not guilty. He was only 17. A child in a hoodie holding Skittles and iced tea, someone's baby, but thug, they called him. Justified, they said. Nigger, they meant. I woke up when they put Trayvon to sleep. I looked around and all of a sudden I could see what was indeed reality. And then all I could see was the sheer gravity of what it means to be in a black body. What it means to live and try to breathe and forgive and want to leave and allegedly thieve and smoke weed and teach and critique and speak and believe in a dream. Any of which we can be killed for, it seems. Like Brown and Boyd, and Boney and Bland. Like Garner and Gray and Gurley and Grant. 8 names on a list that's far too long, and cops will keep killing until the government decides it's wrong, but it's a cold world and corruption's what they know. So like J. Cole says, history repeats itself and that's just how it goes. Cops like slave patrol, except we ain't slaves no more. Although you could have fooled me, seems white supremacy leaves a lasting legacy. With universal guidelines and textbooks on how to treat black bodies, how to see them as guilty, how to unload a clip so effortlessly, how to end lives and discard bodies as you see fit, and then have the audacity to ask why we spit fire from our mouth laced with anger and pain. You think this is a fucking game. Stop playing. Stop shooting. Stop killing. Rest in power and peace to all those killed at the hands of police. Without justice, there is none, no, not from me, because ACAB, and we will scream it in the streets until you stop playing, until you stop shooting, until you stop killing. I woke up when they put Trayvon to sleep, and for the first time envisioned my brother Tashawn upon the screen, and the love of my life Wandley. And then finally, my baby cousin Tyrese, he's 13. Just a year older than a little boy named Tamir who was gunned down while holding a toy. He must have forgotten that black boys don't get to be boys. Don't get to feel joy. Don't get to play unless it's a countdown of the days they and their mothers pray they have left here. Because white people have been taught to fear the color of our skin that wraps our bones, so many of which are buried in the earth because of trigger-happy police who did not know our worth, who did not see what I see. Because all they see is black skin, which to them means sin, but when the fuck did cops become God? That gun in your hand doesn't give you the right to take someone's life without reason, without feeling. I seriously don't know how y'all aren't freezing, carrying souls that cold, and yet you're bold enough to call us the animals. I woke up when they put Trayvon to sleep. And as my eyes opened, they began to weep because I used to think I was free. I used to think we were free. But now my question is, who the fuck is we? Because free is something that we've never been. And free is something that will never be, in all honesty, if we're speaking honestly. Free will not exist while white supremacy persists because every system we live in is uplifted by it. So open up your eyes and see it for what it is before you too get carried away into the abyss. Yes, ignorance is bliss, but neutrality is not an option. No, not for this. No, not when our lives are at risk. No, not when our humanity is dismissed. I woke up when they put Trayvon to sleep, and my eyes have been wide open ever since. R.I.P. Trayvon Martin. R.I.P. Michael Brown. R.I.P. Rekia Boyd. R.I.P. Jean-Pierre Bonny. R.I.P. Sandra Bland. R.I.P. Eric Garner. R.I.P. Freddie Gray. R.I.P. Akai Gurley. R.I.P. Oscar Grant. R.I.P. Tamir Rice. R.I.P. TBD. So this is not a poem, so I'm just going to talk a little, that's okay. So I just want to end by talking about violence. Not state violence, because we talk about that, we know We know that these institutions were not designed with us in mind. As they say, the system is not broken, it is working exactly as it was meant to. So we know that the police state will always fail us because the purpose of its creation was for our persecution. We know that the education system will always fail us because it will never be educated enough to understand our wisdom. We know that the healthcare system will fail us because we were never supposed to be well. These are all things that we know, but what I want to talk about today is the violence that we inflict on each other. The lateral violence, the interpersonal violence, the violence behind private doors and the violence on public streets, the violence we inflict on each other. Yes, often as a result of these bigger systems of violence that teach us to violate each other, but still a choice that we are making. Choosing to harm instead of choosing to love. And I think we need to understand that we have and we make choices. Yesterday was supposedly this country's 150th birthday.
Shame.
L-O fucking L. All jokes aside, and there are none, because there's nothing funny about the celebration and perpetuation of colonial violence. But so many celebrated. So many chose and continue to choose to celebrate. And I'm not talking about the people who really have no idea what is going on. Of course they should, and they need to, we all do. But I'm talking about those of us who know, who are aware, who even call ourselves allies. Sorry, I don't have free hands for my quotation marks. And yet we still choose to celebrate. We still dress our bodies and those of our children in Canada 150 memorabilia. We upload Canada 150 filters to our profile pics and our snaps. We say happy birthday Canada with smiles on our faces. We invest $500 million into the celebration and perpetuation of colonial violence, and we choose to do it, even when we know. When we call ourselves proud, but where is the pride in that? Earlier this week, I watched a video of a young black woman being assaulted by 4 cops in Montreal at a bus station. My heart was racing, yes, because of the obvious and at this point unsurprising display of police brutality. But my heart was racing because of the voices I heard in the background on that video. Sitting and watching behind the window, safe on the bus, voices I assume belong to white women because we know how white supremacy protects white womanhood. And those voices said, they don't want this type of behavior. If this is how she acts here, how is she going to act when the bus is moving? And then they laughed. They watched 4 cops on top of this black woman and they laughed. They watched and they consented. I feel like there's a spider on my neck. Okay, thank you. Police violence, colonial violence, it happens because people let it. Enough people watch and laugh and consent. Enough people make that choice and we end up here, mourning another black life, Indigenous communities resisting this government-funded and settler-supported celebration of colonialism, of white supremacy. And we're all complicit in the trauma of others, whether it's here or across man-made borders. We're all making these choices, but we can choose better ones. We can choose to resist and to respect and to recreate and to protect. We can choose to listen and to learn and to love. Ally is a verb, not a noun, so we can choose to act in allyship with our actions, with our words, with our voices, with our money. And with our voices. But we also need to know when to shut the fuck up and move the fuck back. We need to choose each other. We need to unlearn white supremacy. We need to unlearn colonialism. We need to unlearn the hate that we have been taught is our only choice. Thank you.